No ID is meant for a sane audience. No ID may contain liberty-oriented content. Pinko discretion is advised. Now, here's No ID with Paul Banducci and Scott Moskowitz.
Yo, what's happening? The last action heroes of Idaho's mainstream media deconstruction. I'm Scott.
Hello, Internet. I'm Paul. I'd consider us the last of the Mohicans. I don't know if I'm an action hero, but
well,
I am an angry white man on the frontier.
I mean, with pauses like that, you're definitely no hero.
Well, I thought you were going to say something.
I thought you were going to say something.
Giving Scott more space to talk. Apparently, you don't want it. That's fine. It's fine.
Well,
I'll do all the heavy lifting.
Here on episode 34, we've established a rhythm, and usually you say, hello, Internet, I'm Paul, and then you continue on saying something. This time you just, after I called you a hero, you decided to just, mum was the word.
I was busy soaking up being a hero.
Okay, let's see. What clip can we start with here that ties in with heroes?
Something heroic.
Something heroic.
Give it to us, Scott.
We are deconstructing mainstream presentations of Idaho's news and politics and people and whatnot, because the mainstream is really freaking disingenuous, and they provide us with ample material every single week. And let's see what we can do here. Crashes, no. You know what? You can start right off at the top of the show here. You can be the hero of your own story by getting your Ask Paul correct.
Here comes the question. Big or small, make your guess before we call. The game begins. It's Ask Paul.
Brought to you by Pfizer.
Governor Brad Little issued an executive order Monday declaring two additional
what?
Executive order on Monday declaring two additional.
That's from NPR, by the way.
Let's see.
A little clip from the National Treasure.
Man, that is so open-ended, Scott.
I know.
Let's see.
Hey, if you want to be a hero, man, we can't use that word lightly.
All right. No, that's fair. That's fair. An executive order. Is it health related? Can I phone a friend?
You could, yeah, we'll allow it. I'm going to say no, it's not health related.
Not health related. Okay. I don't know. I give up. It's so open-ended, dude. It could be anything.
Governor Brad Little issued an executive order Monday declaring two additional paid days off around the upcoming July 4th holiday for state employees. The days off, in addition to July 3rd, are July 2nd and July 6th. That's the Monday after the holiday weekend. The extra days are meant to allow people to spend more time enjoying America 250 celebrations, according to the governor's announcement. But not all state workers will get the days off. The state court system announced shortly after the governor made his announcement that as essential workers, courts will remain open and fully operational on July 2nd and 6th, so existing court schedules can be maintained.
So wait a second. If court workers are essential, what are all the rest of the state employees who are not working? What does that make them? Hello.
You know, COVID taught us a lot. The government's response to COVID taught us a lot. Do you remember when they called all of us in the private sector non-essential? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Do you also remember when they closed down things like public schools and they said that things that were closed down were non-essential? Pepperidge Farm remembers. It was really telling what they let stay open and what they closed down. You know what got to stay open? Liquor stores, abortion clinics, weed shops, if you were in Washington. You know what got to close, had to close? Churches, businesses, and public schools, which actually was a saving grace. But congratulations, you played yourselves. A 5-day weekend, Scott, on our dime. It is just a total mystery why anyone would even want to work in the private sector at this point, because we're just tax cows propping up the bureaucrats who get paid no matter what. They just get paid. They get their platinum benefits. They get their pensions. They get fired. They get walking away money, then they just go walk to some other government district and apply for a job and get hired there.
Now
It's
we
so
have
gross.
this has been the go-to on this program since I think somewhere around episode, I don't know, maybe 10, 12. I can't remember the exact one, but it was when we covered the, was it HB 93, the tax credit for private and homeschool families? Do I have that right?
Oh yeah, you mean the handout for the super rich, as the Democrats and the Republicans cosplaying as or Democrats cosplaying as Republicans like to say. Didn't you know?
That's what I meant.
Those who applied for it were directly handed cold hard cash in person to spend however they want. That's how that worked. Totally.
I got a bunch of German bearer bonds left in my mailbox.
Lucky.
Yeah,
I got a
good.
roll of quarters.
The clip that, or the drop rather, that we've been using up until this point, which sounds like this.
The state.
That comes from the testimony given by Marvin Farquhar. I can't remember his name, but he was the attorney representing Holly Troxel. Again, I'm doing this off the top of my head, so I might not be getting that totally right, but it was the law firm that was arguing in front of Idaho's Supreme Court, basically saying we can't do that. We need all the money for the public school apparatus because the Constitution says that there shall be only one system of education, and that comes from
The state.
or you have to be educated by
The state.
That was what he said. I can find the full clip and maybe I'll add it to the soundboard for future context. But I'm saying all that to say, yeah, by the way, that attorney was wrong. That's not what the Constitution says. It says a system,
Correct.
not one system. But now we've added
Correct.
from the last show, from one of the clips about the grocery tax, I now have
The state.
boom, number 2.
Ooh, same guy?
No, that was just
Kinda-
no, not the
sounds
same
like
guy.
The same guy.
It does it really?
The state.
The state.
It does?
Yeah, a little bit. You don't think so?
The state.
The state.
I mean,
I don't know, man. All statists sound the same to me.
yeah. All right. Fair enough. Okay. So here, let's get in. Speaking of the closures and essential workers and whatnot, I'd like to do this presentation next from, and this is a mainstream media deconstruction show. This is not mainstream media. This is independent media. It's the North Idaho Experience podcast, which I guested on back in January. And they are former law enforcement, former first responders. They are pretty spiritually similar to us, although they wouldn't call themselves ANCAP or anything like that. But they are liberty-minded guys for the most part, and we kindred spirits, if not fully aligned on every little thing. The reason I'm including this is not because it's mainstream media, but because they had a former mainstream media figure on the show, and I would like to deconstruct some of her comments because it's very much she thinks of herself, and it is presented very much as like I'm a former mainstream media talking head, but I've had an awakening, and now I get it, and the mainstream media is no good, and I'm on your side. I think it's worth dissecting some of the premises people like her and her sort of archetype are operating from, and how often people who think that they're on the side of liberty actually aren't, and everything that they say betrays it. So here we go.
Are we talking about Russell Mann again?
Brandy Cruz, thank you for joining us. I'm so excited to have you here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Brandy Cruz. So let's do a quick let's try this. Who is Brandy Cruz? Give me a very short bio.
Brandy Cruz is a journalist and television personality based in Seattle, Washington. She's known for her work as a host and commentator, previously working for conservative talk radio and local news outlets. She's also known for hosting the show Undivided, where she discusses local politics and social issues.
Okay, that's Brandy Cruz. Here we go.
Campaign of a United States Senate candidate who was a Democrat. I voted for Obama. I voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016. I usually get booed now when I tell rooms that.
So she's sort of giving her bona fides as how much I've turned around and rethought my philosophical positions.
Rooms that.
Yeah.
And I probably voted for Governor Jay Inslee in his first term, and then I fell off a cliff.
What was I was
essentially
curious.
around 2020. 2020 was a huge wake-up
Can't
call
remember,
for me.
but I probably voted for the governor.
Yeah, let's provide a real-time translation.
It was so long ago.
I voted for Inslee. Probably.
Things had been percolating that just didn't seem right to me, and shouldn't have seemed right to any critical thinker.
Okay.
Hey, pause it. What word did she just get wrong?
Percolated?
She said percolating.
Did she?
Things had been percolating that just
Not percolate.
percolating that just
Percolating. Yeah.
No, she said percolate. Just,
No, I know
hey,
she
it's
did.
nuclear, not nuclear, kiddo.
Okay. Let's percolate on part
I bet
two.
you she loves to percolate about the mountains.
Oh, you're going to make me pull up my soundboard again. Hold on.
We live up kind of in the mountains.
Where's the T? Okay, here we go. Part 2.
and then 2020 hit and the happened, and I couldn't believe it.
Now this is interesting. Now I this
The burp.
yeah, it's so
Did
interesting.
you do that or did they do
No,
that?
they did that, and in fact, they have their biggest presence, I believe, is YouTube. I think that's where their biggest audience is. But I don't. I listen via podcast. I don't watch. And when I heard this, I started listening, and I heard the beep, and I immediately, I shouldn't have, I knee jerked it. I was like in the car, and I paused it, and I called Seth Horst, one of the hosts, and I was like, "What the hell's being beeped out? Is it pandemic? Is it COVID? Like what is? I don't understand." And he was like, "Oh, we're about to move our editing and stuff in house, and we're at the very tail end of it's like somebody overseas that's contracted to go through and do some editing and beeping." He said because YouTube gave them a strike on their channel. 3 strikes, they take your channel down, and it's a huge asset for them. And this 2 years ago or whatever, YouTube was like, you can't say the vaccine is this, or you're spreading health misinformation, and it basically it spooked them totally understandably. So they're having their guy over there in the Philippines or wherever the hell this person is operating bleep out the word pandemic and vaccine and COVID or some combination of those things. So you can actually hear a lot of it. It sounds like the freaking Osbournes, like circa 2002. It's the strangest thing, but that's why it's being beeped.
And then
another reason, all of you listeners out there, to why we're better. We don't bleep anything out. At least I don't think so.
I don't bleep anything out on this show.
And then 2020 hit and the happened, and I couldn't believe
pandemic
it.
happened.
I was hosting a show in Seattle.
Dude, that irks me. That really irks me.
Well,
right, I'm sorry.
Hold on to your freaking hat because there's going to be a bunch of them, and you'll probably by context you'll be able to tell if it's vaccine or COVID, or which ironic. This is so ironic. It's not a vaccine. They had to redefine that word to even make that applicable. It wasn't COVID that anyone's even ever talking about. It was all of the panic and mass psychosis in people's brains that was surrounding it. So the funny part is all of these terms are misused in the first place, but okay.
I was hosting a show in Seattle. And so I believed from an early age fundamentally in the power of a free press and the responsibility of the media. And so when the happened, it was like, we're not going to question any of this. We're not questioning we're not questioning the mask mandates. We're not going to question why I have to go into a restaurant with a mask on, but then can take it down to eat and then put it back up. It was insane to me. And I would have these debates in the newsroom.
Was it though?
And during
well, it's also not insane to her. It's just insane, period. Like, because plenty of people think that it wasn't, doesn't make it not insane. It was just obviously insane.
Correct.
And I would have these debates in the newsroom and during editorial meetings, and I would hear our anchors on set in commercial breaks make fun of and vilify people who were against the vaccine. And I just couldn't believe that.
Things that never happened, debating in the studio. You know why? Because she wasn't fired.
It does make me a little skeptical as well.
There's no way. There was no way there's, quote, debates in the studio or whatever, wherever they were, or in or around the studio. There's no way. Because they would have fired her ass. She would have been 1 in 100. She would have been the only one, and they would have fired her.
Yeah, you might be right. I have no idea. I wasn't in the room, and
I obviously I don't know for 100% certain, but I'm a betting man, and I usually lay pretty good wagers. I mean, common sense, the odds are.
It's not an outrageous bet.
And I just couldn't believe that there was probably never a period of time where a free press was more, the mission of the free press was more relevant than during COVID, when every aspect of government at all levels was exerting this just profound power over people's lives, over their livelihoods. And we decided we're not going to stand in the breach for people and ask hard questions. That was really the beginning of the end for me in mainstream news.
It's a little bit of a vocal fry that she's got going on, so maybe I should have hit the warning.
Vocal fry warning.
It gets worse.
Vocal fry warning.
Here's part 3.
Is legacy media, mainstream media, is there a directive from up top to be the way they are, or is it a cultural thing?
I think it's cultural. Most people in legacy news are
both.
Democrats. There's been polling on this stuff. It's like 95%, right?
Yeah. And academia and government.
Now, if it's cultural, I would like to hear an explanation for how something like this happens.
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our Treasure Valley communities, the El Paso, Las Cruces communities, Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But we are concerned about troubling irresponsible, one-sided news stories
plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming.
Can't tell if this is the mainstream media or North Idaho Republicans campaign clips. It's the same picture.
And agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous.
Et cetera, et cetera. That is not culture. That is a script. From whence does that script emanate?
The top. from the elite parasite class that control everything. We know this. And then, down below them is the culture of left-leaning people in academia, in the mainstream media, and in government who all happily act as the mouthpieces for the ones at the top. So, and that is, I guess that part is cultural, but it's a 1-2 punch. 1-2 punch. Can't have one without the other.
Before
you know how this lady
singing,
feels like. I don't even think I've heard the punchline yet.
You haven't. We're at part 4 is the meat and potatoes.
But I'm gonna tell you what. This is already the vibes I'm picking up right here.
How do you do, fellow kids?
What?
Is that Steve
How
Buscemi?
do you do?
Yeah.
Fellow conservatives.
Isn't he wearing,
I too am like you.
Isn't he wearing like
I once was lost
rock band shirt that looks like AC/DC?
It literally, it looks like AC/DC, but it says music band.
Music band.
Music band, yeah. How do you do, fellow kids? So are we gonna go do some drugs after school?
What be up?
Where are we doing these drugs? That's how this lady makes me feel right now. She waltzes into the studio with these guys and she's like, I used to be a flaming Seattle leftist mainstream media mouthpiece, but now I'm like you. Wasn't it tough being like us? You remember that time when things were really hard for us conservatives? Lady, you weren't one. You weren't one of those. What are you talking about? Get out of here.
Here is part 4, and it's the true crux of what I was alluding to before we started down this journey.
And there were 2 moments in particular during that first sort of year, I think, of the maybe year and a half of the that stand out to me. One was all of a sudden the rioting happened after George Floyd. They call it the Summer of Love in Seattle because our former mayor, Jenny Durkin, said maybe it'll be a summer of love as they took over.
So it's funny, like all of a sudden, well, no, it happened because mainstream media blanketed a narrative from coast to coast 24/7 into everyone's glowing screens of the apparatus of which you were a part, spun everybody up to do it. Anytime you get people in the streets, that's why it ever happened. The same thing with, and you'll hear it in a moment here, where it's like, well, these things happen and the media went along with it. No, you've got the order the wrong way around.
Yeah, no, things like this are very telling. Again, it's so obvious if you know what to look for. It's so maddeningly obvious, and it feels kind of lonely sometimes, Scott. It's like we're us and our listeners are the only ones who see it. It's so irritating. It's like they're telling us just by what they say and how they say it. They're telling us like, and then out of nowhere, these black people just popped up out of the ground and started burning down buildings and kicking over neighborhoods and beating each other up, all in the name of racial equality. But
just remember,
yeah, who could have seen that coming?
It wasn't blacks.
Just out of nowhere.
It was mostly whitey, but what they were was commies.
Bust in BLM rioters. The majority of which were like college-aged white kids.
Bust in BLM in the running for show title. Okay, we continue.
One was all of a sudden the rioting happened after George Floyd.
All of a sudden.
We call it the Summer of Love in Seattle because our former mayor, Jenny Durkin, said maybe it'll be a summer of love as they took over 6 square blocks of the city and, patrolled it.
Mom's a summer of love.
The weapons that they were trying to ban from lawful citizens. And they came out and said that it was okay to be out in mass in groups of thousands of people rioting and protesting because saving black lives was also a public health emergency. So we've got businesses shutting down because you won't let them, feed people food or do whatever you do. But you can have thousands of people out rioting in the streets because that's a more important public health emergency. Could not believe it. It was absolutely asinine. And then the second thing was when we realized the was not going to stop the spread of COVID,
vaccine.
Our governor had instituted a mandate. And I said over and over, because I did have an opinion show at the Fox station. I did a Sunday political show where I would, sort of give my opinion on things. And so I was able to cross that boundary a little bit. But I said, that I didn't blame early on any elected leader for making some missteps. I said, this is a situation that we have never faced in modern history, American history.
False.
Okay, what is it? What is a situation that we've never faced? What's she talking about?
I'm guessing somebody doesn't know about the Spanish flu in 1917.
So she thinks that disease is new? Well, you don't understand, Scott. She's saying it's so severe. Well, when does it cross the threshold from normal disease to severe? What metric are you using to determine that this is unprecedented?
Who gets to decide that? Who's the arbiter of this?
I want to know what's going on in her own head. What does she think? What are the answers to those questions in her own head? She would say, Brandy, I think it's unprecedented because
all of Middle Ages Europe begs to differ.
Is it unprecedented? Okay, it keeps coming up, and we have a little bit more here, so let's keep going before we run out of show.
For making some missteps. I said, this is a situation that we have never faced in modern history, American history. And all I wanted was a politician who would come out and say, look, this is unprecedented. We're going to make the decision.
It's a very interesting tonal thing that happens there. The classic, going up 3 octaves when you're like saying an untruth. I'm not saying she's a liar. I'm just saying these vocal tics happen when things are coming out of your mouth that some part of your brain knows is it's like a baloney term. Listen again.
This is unprecedented.
She just went up 1.5 octaves on the word unprecedented. Okay, continue on.
This is unprecedented. We're going to make the decisions we think are best in the moment. If we get it wrong, we get it wrong, and we're going to come back and we're going to fix it. We might have to change course along the way, but I want you to trust that we're always making decisions based on the best available information. I would have given them so much grace.
Now, she's talking about the elected leaders saying something like that, and had they did, she would have given them all the grace in the world to run roughshod over the population with totalitarian edicts. They did, that's what they were saying. What is the difference between what she just said and what the elected leaders were saying from podiums?
This reminds me of?
So let me be clear.
Another glorious leader of ours.
Let me be clear about America's intentions. Let me be clear. The United States government has no interest in running.
Clarity.
This is the new normal.
GM. So let me be clear.
This is the new normal. Let me be clear. This has never happened before in American history.
Unprecedented.
So let me be clear.
Unprecedented.
This is unprecedented.
NATO should be seeking collaboration with Russia, not confrontation.
Clarity.
But let us be clear.
Clarity.
But let us be clear. Yeah. Community. Clarity. Glad we got that cleared up.
If we get it wrong, we get it wrong, and we're going to come back and we're going to fix it. We might have to change course along the way, but I want you to trust that we're always making decisions based on the best available information.
No, but of course, now baked into all of this is the premise that the leaders have authority over us such that if the situation is fill in the blank, we can just make edicts and you have to listen. It's just built in.
On top of that,
our authority
the premise
is legitimate.
that she's working with is that I totally would have forgiven all of the heinous things they did to us if they had just communicated to us in a way I approve of.
But they did. They said they did exactly what she's saying. It's like the most confusing thing in the world. Where were you? So, of course, it's the double
in
whammy.
Seattle, enjoying the summer of love, Scott. Where were you?
She was arguing with her fellow hosts.
Things that never happened. I'll take things that never happened for 500, Trebek.
I don't know where to begin with this because it's just so absurd. I don't even know how to dissect it in like a meaningful way. Like what's she talking about? So she thinks that authoritarian rule by government is legitimate and justified if blank. Well, automatically,
as long as they talk to us the way I like to be talked to.
So therefore, you're an authoritarian. You're like a totalitarian. It just has to be on your terms. So you not only are you not for liberty, you're an enemy of liberty. What are you talking about? If you allow an entity to act authoritarian when there is an emergency, they will invent emergencies to act authoritarian. It's one of the most basic rules of human existence. I find this stuff just unbelievably confusing.
As an anarchist, we always look to we're trying to find the lowest common denominator. We break stuff down to the most basic building block. And one of the things that led me to anarchy was the realization that everybody else wasn't arguing over whether or not they were a statist or whether or not they, believed in and loved and craved authority over themselves and over others. It's simply the brand of authority that they're arguing over. And that's the stone cold truth. Even the modern day conservative versus liberal as we know them in America, the neocons versus the neoliberals and through the modern American lens, it really is just a debate over how quickly we're going to crash into the wall or run over the cliff or whatever metaphor you want to use. But both believe in the state. They just, conservatives tend to believe in a bigger police state, especially when it suits their needs. And especially because, they're anti-drug just off the cuff because they don't know what the hell they're talking about. So they militarize the police force in the war on drugs, which after 50 years of that, oh, hey, shocker, turns out drugs won the war on drugs. And then on the left, liberals have been, at war with poverty since the 60s. And spoiler alert, guess what? Poverty is still winning the war on poverty. But in both cases, government has gotten huge, massive. And it is just a monster that requires more and more of our money. So individual liberty decreases, the scope and size of the government increases, and both sides are guilty of it. They just fight over the brand
of authority.
Leftists are anti-war until Obama is in power or Biden's in power. And, then they're happy to see brown kids get droned. Obama was known as the drone president by people who paid attention. He droned more brown kids than Bush could have ever hoped to, but you didn't hear the left's crying about war when Obama was president for 8 years. Then Trump got in campaigning on being anti-war, and look how long that lasted. Actually, his first term wasn't for that. His first term was actually pretty solid, but his second term, not so much. Now liberals are anti-war again. I don't know. Are we pro-Russia? Are we anti-Ukraine? Was it a Russian hoax? Are we pro, who hates Israel more? Regular conservatives or left or Antifa? I don't know. It's a toss up, but if there's one thing everybody can agree on is that we need more government. They just disagree on exactly how much, who should be in charge, and what level of terrible shit it should do to you.
I'm happy to be a bureaucrat.
Yeah, well, yeah, because it pays so damn well and you get a 5-day weekend.
Brand of authority is in the running for show title. We continue on with part 4 of Brandy Cruz on the North Idaho experience.
I would have given them so much grace and so much latitude had they just reasoned with us and said, look, the isn't what we thought it was going to be. We wish it was, but it's not. So we can't fire people for not getting it. But they just wouldn't do it. They wouldn't back down, and they said goodbye to lifelong public servants. Public servants.
Well, when you say you would give them grace, I think you're speaking for
most people.
Most people would say, okay, this is unprecedented.
God, I hope
it's used too much.
Okay, listen again.
People would say, okay, this is unprecedented.
Right. What is unprecedented? What are they talking about?
It's not unprecedented.
What is
gosh.
the it? I don't even know what the it is. What are they talking about? It's not a rhetorical question. I don't understand what they're talking about. Disease is unprecedented? Well, again, Scott, it's about severity. Okay, at what level does it become unprecedented? What metric? What are you talking about? Have you thought about it?
Again, I'm going to refer everybody back to the beginning of the 20th century when the Spanish flu swept the entire world, wiped out millions of people, hit the U.S. And you know what the U.S. government did? It mandated masks.
Give me a brief biography of Michael Yeadon.
Michael Yeadon is a former British pharmaceutical researcher and executive. He worked for many years at Pfizer, eventually becoming vice president and head of allergy and respiratory research. After leaving the pharmaceutical industry, he became a controversial figure, widely known for promoting vaccine skepticism and COVID-19 misinformation.
Okay, blah, blah. So he's a former Pfizer researcher and PhD. He has all the credentials, all the experts and worshiping the science and all of that. I have to play this because it's interesting. I heard it. No Agenda played it a couple shows ago. They've played it before, but it's worth playing with regard to all this unprecedented stuff.
There has not been a pandemic. Dennis Rancourt's data shows that the all-cause mortality evidence data did not increase at all in the run-up to the declaration fraudulently by WHO of a pandemic. There is no public health emergency except that created by our governments. A inappropriate, fraudulent PCR test was used to give people the impression that they had a particular disease where they didn't. There were all the normal diseases. And then what happened was, in 3 different ways, people were treated badly through changed medical procedures that were imposed above the level of nation, briefly, mass ventilation of people inappropriately in hospitals that led to lots of deaths. In care homes, many people were given sedatives and respiratory depressants, which led to their deaths. My PhD was specifically in that area of opiates and respiratory depression. And in the community, people were denied life-saving antibiotics and died of bacterial pneumonia. There's your pandemic. There is no other pandemic. And based on this lie, we were told that vaccines were coming our way and would be our savior. 2 things. As I say, first, there's no pandemic, so you certainly don't need an experimental, rushed medical intervention. But secondly, even if you did, as someone who's worked in the industry for over 30 years, I am telling you, it's absolutely impossible to invent, test, clinically evaluate, and manufacture and then launch on global scale a complex biomedical product. It's absolutely impossible. It's not as close. It's years wrong.
Okay, there's more to that, but I'm going to pause it there. Let's finish here with the last part of Brandy Cruz, the freedom-loving skeptic on the North Idaho experience.
Most people would say, okay, this is unprecedented, and that gets used too much in politics, but truly, that is unprecedented. I think they would have looked at that and respected it. Said, okay, we tried this isn't working, we're going to pivot, and we're going to go back to this.
Right.
Again, the default position and premises being authoritarian government is legitimate if fill in the blank. The second you open that door, the ifs will be invented. Part 5 is about 30 seconds long, and it's the last part.
And it was just crazy. It's like we should be trying to put politics aside, figure out how we're going to get through this as a state, keep people alive, and keep businesses open. But it was just about vilify, 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 and then ignore all the facts that came. And the media played into it.
The media didn't play into it. The media was the cause of it.
Well, it was it was the biggest contributor, because your worldview informs your politics, and your politics informs your stance on policy. What COVID-19 brought down on us was government policy. So of course we're going to disagree on it. And of course it's going to be political, just like everything else that involves government. Every single thing that involves government involves somebody taking money from somebody and giving it to somebody else, or allocating it in a way that the people it's been stolen from are going to disagree. Everything government does, let me put it this way. Everything government has been stolen or printed out of thin air, which is also a form of theft. Everything government does is backed by the threat of force or actual force. Therefore, if the government is involved, it's political. It's public policy. We are forced to care and be reactionary. There's no way around that. Again, that's why, as an anarchist, one of the many things that informs my worldview is, most of the things we debate on politically at the national level, the state level, whatever, they're non-issues. The moment you get government out of it, they are non-issues. Because I don't care what my neighbor does, as long as he doesn't harm me or take my stuff, or cause someone else to take my stuff or harm me. We can live in peace. It's that simple.
As such, let me play that first 10 seconds one more time to illustrate what you're saying.
And it was just crazy. It's like we should be trying to put politics aside, figure out how we're going to get through this as a state.
How can you do that given what you just said? So we should put politics aside and figure out how government is going to run roughshod over you. You just said the exact same thing. We should put this aside so we can decide how to do this. Well, how can you put it aside?
Why can't we have phrased this way, and this applies to every conversation that is like this. Basically, why can't we have a civil conversation about me putting you in a cage if you don't pay for the stuff I want? Or
we just have to decide how we're going to have to decide how to get through it together. We're all in this together.
Yeah. Why can't you just put aside the fact that if you don't comply, we'll hurt you? Why can't we have a civil discussion about this?
If they would have just told us, in plain English from the podium, the leaders, that if we didn't comply, they were going to hurt us, we would have just given them grace. Oh yeah, you speak for so many people.
Yeah, totally. Speak for all the grace in the world.
Okay, and the point of this is not to skewer North Idaho experience, which it's independent media. Like I said, these guys are.
Did they push back? Did they push back on Brandy at all, or did they let her just
in the vein that we're doing right now? No.
Well, no, I wouldn't expect them to. No, because not this way.
Well, you're also hearing. I mean, you're hearing them sort of agree with some of the premises of like, oh yes, did I lose you? I think I might have froze up. Are you there?
Can you?
Yeah, my thing spazzed on me. I had to reset it. Sorry about that. What was the last thing you heard?
Let's see. I asked about the pushback. You said not in the same vein.
Oh, right.
They actually even agreed with her on some things.
That the things being unprecedented and et cetera. And that, if the leaders just reasoned with us or whatever. And the point of this is we are not presenting this to skewer North Idaho experience or an independent media and because it's an admirable venture or Brandy Cruz. I'm not trying to denigrate here. I'm only trying to point out how so many who think that they're on the side of liberty and sanity and prosperity, human flourishing, whatever you want to call it, when they do stream of consciousness in moments of testing, when they are tested, and even in retrospect, when reflecting on the test, their premises and their speech betrays premises that have never, I guess, gone away. And the problem is you can't be any of the things I just said given those premises. You're just going to end up with authoritarianism and it'll be a different shade of it next time. And we all know there's always a next time.
My favorite phrase, and this is typically from conservatives, and when I end up arguing with them, which I do as much or more than leftists or hardcore leftists, I'm all for liberty, but. And immediately it's like, let me just stop you right there. If you're going to say that sentence and use a qualifier, you don't believe in liberty. No matter how much you think you do, liberty is a principle, not a preference. And the moment that you say, you take something and say that I believe in this as a principle, except for this, this, and this, well, now it's a preference. It's not a principle. A principle is immutable, and you apply it across the board. One of the many reasons why I'm an anarchist, because the principles brought me here. It's like, yeah, well, are there some things out there I don't like? Yeah. But do I think we have the right to self-ownership? Yep. Do I think liberty is paramount above all? Yep. Is the government by its very nature coercive and violent? Yep. Okay. What do we do with these truths? Where do these truths lead? And it's super uncomfortable for most people. That's why they refuse to get there. They don't want to. We can use logic all day long, and everybody we always end up in the same place. But yeah, but what about this? Or yeah, but what if this? Or yeah, but there's just too many bad people out there. Like, yeah, well, your solution is to then give a small group of them all the power. Okay, that makes so much sense. People are bad and therefore need to be governed. Let's give a small group of people who are bad power over all of us and a monopoly on violence. What could go wrong?
And then, maybe I'll have an awakening and I'll, either in the moment or looking back or a combination of both, recognize that the violent and coercive nature of the state, like you just mentioned. But then I'll turn around and out of the other side of my mouth, I'll say how if those leaders from the podiums had just said it in this way, I would have given them all the grace to be violent and coercive in the world. Well, which one is it? I thought you just told me they were violent and coercive. Well, no, not in this case. It's unprecedented and they mean well.
But when I see tyranny from that angle, oh, yeah, baby.
What in the world, man?
Govern me harder, daddy. It's not the boot that I have the problem with, that boot on my neck. It's the flavor of the leather that I have the problem with. I just want a different flavor of leather, and then it's okay.
They just would have polished the boot. I mean, I didn't want this torn, nasty leather. Polish it up so it's nice, smooth black leather.
It's like, conservatives and liberals who both defend taxes, and the conservatives are like, I'm totally happy to give up 25% of my paycheck so we can build Tomahawk missiles. And the other side's like, I'm perfectly happy to give up 40% of my paycheck so we can, feed the poor, even though that's not actually what ever happens. But it's like, okay, you're both just awful.
If you found yourself in knee-jerk fashion, when Paul said there can't be a but, I'm for liberty, but, and we were like, well, there can't be a but. And if you found yourself going like, oh, you two assholes, what are you talking about? Of course there's a but. You can't just have that. If that was where your mind went when you heard that, think about it and just really sort of ride that logic train and see where it goes. What are the exceptions that come to your mind? Anyway, that's a homework assignment. So speaking of paying taxes for Tomahawk missiles, here is one more NPR story, our national treasure.
Let's real quick. I just want to tell everybody that, when we're talking about liberty and things like that, the only buts that you should like are your spouses.
I'm looking for it. Hold on. I added a bunch of new sound drops, so it got rearranged. There it is.
Wait, seriously? You just gave us 10 seconds of silence for that? That's terrible. That is, oh my gosh. Hold on.
Let's just move on to our national treasure talking about taxes.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
You, sir, get the bell of shame.
Many low-income families in Idaho have seen their tax bills rise in recent years, while the state's highest earners have seen what they pay fall by six figures. As Spokane Public Radio's Owen Henderson reports, that change is the product of 8 years of state and federal tax cuts.
As the state and federal government reduce revenue by cutting taxes and slash things like health insurance subsidies,
those costs don't just disappear. They are shifted onto families and local communities.
May Roberts is a policy analyst for the nonpartisan Idaho Center for Fiscal Policy.
Let's take a quick pause there and examine the nature of that statement on NPR. The nonpartisan, what was it?
May Roberts is a policy analyst for the nonpartisan Idaho Center for Fiscal Policy.
Idaho Center for Fiscal Policy. So when you do a little research and you look into the nature of that organization, here's a couple things that I found that you might find interesting, because NPR, they labeled it. Now, normally when they label things, it's far right, KKK, far right, conservative Christian,
extremist,
far right,
radical, Christian nationalist.
And then when entities, people, or organizations are commie, pinko, lefties, they omit labels completely. So in this case, they did not.
Or they're
omit
just
a label.
nonpartisan.
Now, in this case, yes, they assigned a label specifically, and they called it nonpartisan. So let's, the Idaho Center for Fiscal Policy, are they truly nonpartisan? Well, when you click on the About Us at idahofiscal.org, the very first thing that it says, our mission statement, the Idaho Center for Fiscal Policy believes in making the right investments today so our state will thrive tomorrow. The mission of the Idaho Center for Fiscal
investments
is to produce accurate information analysis to inform public decisions with a focus on state budget, tax, and economic issues that impact Idahoans with low to moderate income. So the nature of the framing in the first place, when you refer to government spending as investment, that is partisan. It betrays a framework of thinking about the world wherein government spending is good. How is that nonpartisan?
These people always use that term so loosely, investment. So it's so wrong. It irks me so hard. Investment actually involves a return. And an investment involves voluntary exchange. Stealing somebody else's money to then spend on your pet project is not investment. That's simply a redistribution of wealth.
I only did a cursory dive here. Just like this afternoon, I haven't been looking into them for a long time or anything, but everything that I saw, it's expanding or protecting government. It's concern about income inequality, which is another lens that assuming that if everyone had the same income, that would be a good thing. Support for higher, more progressive, they call it, taxation. They repeated skepticism toward tax cuts. Analysts it goes on and on, but calling it a nonpartisan agency, it implies ideologically neutral. That's when people hear that word in passing and it goes right by an NPR, that's the impression that it is meant to give. They are not ideologically neutral. They're statist.
It's not even a clever sleight of hand, though. Nowadays, if anybody has any common sense at all and you're paying attention at all, especially after the COVID years, your ears should be perking up, man. Your bullshit detector should go right up the moment you hear the term nonpartisan. Because again, we live in a day and an age where everything is partisan. There's no such thing as nonpartisan. There isn't.
There is not, but because the partisanship in this case is state-centric framework for how you view the world and society, NPR very dutifully labels you nonpartisan.
May Roberts is a policy analyst for the nonpartisan Idaho Center for Fiscal Policy. She authored a new report on the effect of the tax cuts since 2018. She says those shifting costs can look like higher property taxes, rising tuition at state schools, and decreased access to healthcare and food assistance. Idaho households have gotten...
Listen to that one. Decreased access to healthcare. What did they say? Healthcare?
And decreased access to healthcare and food.
Healthcare and food.
Care and food assistance.
And food assistance. So
yeah, they always act like it's the fault of the tax cuts for this stuff. When really, if these things were a priority, then they would spend the money they have left on these things and not on whatever other bullshit they want. Man, I'll tell you what, a bureaucrat's worst nightmare is someone somewhere doing something that they, without their permission. Their second worst nightmare is having less money to spend and having to actually prioritize a budget.
If the government doesn't pay for your food, you can't access food.
And decreased access to healthcare and food assistance. Idaho households have gotten $4.5 billion in annual state and federal tax cuts since 2018.
Oh, no.
The top 1% of households, those making about $770,000 a year or more, have seen their yearly tax bills go down by an average of more than $110,000.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Scott, who pays the most taxes?
Brandy Cruz?
Where's that sound drop? I like your taxes.
It is right here.
I like your taxes.
Yeah, it's the top 1%. The top 10% in the country pay over 50% of the taxes. The top 20% in this country pay over 90% of the taxes. So when you do tax cuts, who's going to get a bigger tax cut?
NPR?
Yeah, they're a nonprofit, so I don't think they pay taxes. It turns out it's the person who's already paying the most taxes is also going to see the biggest reduction in their taxes.
What? I don't get it. This is unprecedented.
Wow.
If you are making approximately $800,000 a year in Idaho, how much of that goes toward taxes in total, income, property, and sales?
Are you asking
To estimate the total tax burden on an 800K income in Idaho, we need to break it down by major categories.
I can do it
Federal
quicker.
income tax. On 800K, expect roughly $230,000 to $240,000. Idaho state income tax. Idaho has a top marginal rate of 5.7%. On 800K, that would be about 45K. Social Security tax is only up to the wage cap, around 160K in 2026. You'd pay about 10K for Social Security and about $11,600 for Medicare, plus the additional Medicare tax. Idaho has a 6% sales tax. If you spend a substantial amount, say 150K annually on taxable goods, that would be about 9K.
But in any case, you're left with about 400K and change. It's half your damn money.
Yep. And that doesn't count gas tax, vehicle registration fees, doesn't count sin taxes. So if you're buying alcohol or tobacco, there's anywhere from 20 to 80% inside there. That's sin taxes. It doesn't count VAT taxes, value added taxes. It doesn't count transport fees and taxes. It also doesn't count all of the built-in fees and taxes that are basically wrapped up and built in to all of the goods and services, particularly goods that you purchase.
It's hard to
along
measure
the way.
Yep.
Well, if you take it topic by topic or company by company, no, you could break it out. But yeah,
Yes.
it's an extensive and comprehensive effort.
It's much more hidden.
Because at every level of production and transport, there are taxes and fees and regulation and regulatory expenses and costs that are built into what we buy. And then you got to count inflation too, which, well, they say it's 3.2% right now or 3.4%. That's total bullshit, because you know what they don't count when they measure the CPI, Consumer Price Index? You know what they don't count, Scott? They don't count gas and groceries.
Oh, yeah, right.
They literally do not count gas and groceries, which happen to be the two categories that suffer the highest rates of inflation always. Real inflation is actually somewhere in between 8 and 12%. You know how we know? Because the actual value of the dollar, the purchasing power of the dollar, has decreased 40% since 2020. 40% in 6 years. It has decreased 75% since the year 2000. And if you want to take it all the way back to 1913, when the Federal Reserve was chartered, in 1914, when the Federal Reserve actually began and started printing money, just in time for World War I, by the way, the more you know, so that we could, print all the money and go to war. It is now less than a penny left over. So if you had $1 in 1914, 1913, that dollar is worth less than 1 cent today. And we don't even make a penny now because it's too expensive to make the penny.
Let's finish then. With that said, let's finish this NPR clip about how the poor have no access to food because the rich are getting tax cuts.
Have seen their yearly tax bills go down by an average of more than $110,000. Meanwhile,
the lowest income Idaho.
Listen to how that is said. I mean, they betray so much with their tonality. Like, he's saying it through gritted teeth. Meanwhile, what about the other $350,000 they're paying out of their $800K income? And by the way, who is that rich? Does that make you rich? What does rich mean?
Their yearly tax bills go down by an average of more than $110,000. Meanwhile,
The lowest income Idahoans, those that earn $29,000 and less, actually had their tax bill go up by about $100.
Many Republican state lawmakers say the income tax cuts are necessary to offset rising property taxes. Property taxes have increased for many as school districts strive to make up for receiving less state funding. I'm Owen Henderson reporting.
Wow, what a report. Owen Henderson.
While also hemorrhaging students, by the way. School districts are losing students. There are fewer enrollments this year than there were last year, and so on and so on and so on. Enrollment is at an all-time low on percentages, and not raw numbers, but definitely based on percentages. Enrollment is down across the board. School districts are smaller, fewer students, and yet they scream and screech about not having enough money. They want more while they have less students to deal with.
I need money.
And then when they get it, guess who gets the money? Guess what they do with it? It's almost always more administration costs. Administration costs have increased like 1,000% in the last 20, 30 years. And the number of administrators has gone up 10x compared to the number of teachers going up like 1.3x. And the number of students actually decreasing.
Say the words!
That's Becky Pringle, the head of the National Teachers Union. That's what she does at podiums when she's speaking to her fellow teachers.
Say the words!
Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Say them.
Say them!
That's where the money goes. Well, you know
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition!
You know where the money goes on this program, on No ID? Do you know, Paul?
Typically for hookers and blow.
Rent boys and Chardonnay. Yep.
You know
the
it.
reason that the money goes there, if we want it to, which of course we don't because we're only into our wife's butts or whatever you said earlier.
That's right.
The reason is because we direct the funds because they are given to us voluntarily, not coercively, by you if you find our show valuable. And what I'm describing is the model we run on. This is the exact opposite, the inversion of everything that you've basically heard up to this point. Value for value is very simple. It simply means that we try to make this product valuable. We try to put out a valuable show consistently every Thursday. A new one drops. And if you find it valuable, like we try to make it, we ask that you contribute value back to the show. And you can do that with your time, your talent, or your treasure. Simple as that. Time and talent means sending us stuff, sending us show art, sending... Why are you rapping?
I don't want your stuff. Don't boomer me. Send us stuff. This isn't a Garage Town Roadshow or Storage Wars.
Come on, man. You never know when someone...
estate sale.
What if they accidentally send in like a vintage Rolex because they didn't know what it was?
That'll be the day.
You know, when I watch those shows, it seems
I will
like that's always
accept
what's
the vintage
happening.
Rolex.
Yeah.
If the term value for value is etched on the back of it, then I will accept.
Oh, it would be one of one. It would be a real collector item.
That's right. Dang right.
Mm-hmm. So don't send us like stuff as in physical like garage sale items. You know, we don't want the rainbow colored ceiling fan from your granddaughter's bedroom. That's a real item, by the way, that came out of the house my parents recently moved into. So that's a specific. And you know, when I posted it on Marketplace, funnily enough, I got just an overwhelming response. People really wanted that ceiling fan with the multicolored blades. It was a hot item. So apparently there's a lot of value in that.
Well, you listed it during Pride Month.
Yeah, woo! What a marketing genius I am.
Dang right.
So
who wants my rainbow fan?
Stuff. What I meant was show art. I meant audio clips. I meant news stories. I meant messages, feedback of any sort. All of this can be done at noidshow.com. There's a contact button. Probably a bunch of you already have our emails and phone numbers and stuff. So any form of sending us stuff, not stuff, sending us the things I just outlined specifically as related to the show is value return.
Send Scott your stuff, not me. If you have stuff to send it to Scott. I don't want your stuff. Apparently, Scott, being the Jew that he is, will just take whatever you send him. So, if you got stuff, send stuff.
Everything's got value, man. I got a shop. I'll hoard the shit out of everything.
Hey, one of the benefits of I don't have a garage or a shop. And one of the benefits to that is you got to learn how to be efficient with your space.
Indeed, you do.
Yeah.
Yes. As George Carlin said, the house is just a place to keep your stuff while you go out and get more stuff.
More stuff.
I want to add one thing to the telling people about the show of the time value returned, which that most certainly is. If you let people know about this program, if you find it valuable, that is huge value returned in the time category. Another way to do that, other than just like whatever in conversation, is to like make a post about it. If you have like a personal, like a Facebook or, any like a social media page, if you just like post, like, let's say the latest episode and like, hey, this show covers Idaho. It's pretty cool. Any form of just putting it on your timeline would be huge value returned. So I'd like to throw that out there if you find our show valuable. The treasure portion of Time, Talent, and Treasure is, even though our freaking money's only worth 1 penny on the dollar from what it used to be, it is still value returned to send fiat currency our way. That is the treasure portion of Time, Talent, Treasure. And doing so makes you an executive producer of the No ID Show. You are all producers. You're not just listeners. You help us make the show. That's why you hear a lot of contributed content on this program, because you guys produce the content and then we just disseminate it. Executive producers are treasure value returners. And this week, there are 3, and I would like to start with Jack Cramer, repeated executive producer Jack Cramer, and who sent in this is a popular one lately because we just did episode 33 last week. So as such, he sent in 3333.
Oh, right on.
And executive producer Kramer's donation note says, I am a Luddite. Here is an anti-Chauncey donation. So not only doesn't like Chauncey, put his money where his mouth is and said, well, all these people that are just saying, like, from a seat at the Racketeer, shouting at me across the room, hey, what's up with that? Jack knows what's up. He's returning value with treasure to say, I don't like it, which means his opinion has way more clout.
Jack Cramer, you are my new favorite person for the week.
How do you like that?
For the week. I do this for you, sir. I love it.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
It's going to pay off for you, Jack. I just want you to know. It means a lot to me. Thank you. I'll have to let you know next time I'm down. I'd like to buy you a drink and a cigar.
Let's move along to this is
serious.
a first time. Yes, I'm sure. And now I know that Jack is a local, so I bet you he will take us up on it next time.
Yeah, good. Scott's seen me do it. I make the offer. Somebody shows up. I do the thing.
Now here is another 3333. This one is from first-time executive producer Sir Jaymo, Black Baron of North Idaho. And Sir Jaymo
welcome.
Says, in the morning from Lewiston, the original capital and lowest elevation in Idaho. I love the podcast, and I hope to attend another Sanity Brigade meetup soon. That's our No Agenda meetup group. I know Sir Jaymo.
Oh, so you know this dude?
I do know him. Yep.
All right.
And I know him through No Agenda. So we are. He is a fellow media deconstructor, liker, and producer. And here he is becoming an executive producer here of No ID. And it is very appreciated. His note goes on, I want to send my appreciation to all of the hardworking firefighters who are dealing with an early fire season. Thank you for your courage, from Sir Jaymo.
Aw. Very nice.
So that's cool.
Very
cool
nice.
to see you here, Sir Jaymo. Very much appreciate the value returned. Huge.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Welcome to the party, baby. Welcome to the club. I did not know that Lewiston was Idaho's lowest point. I did not know that. I did know that it had been a capital or I guess the capital at one point, but I didn't know it was the lowest point.
You learn something new every day.
Gonna get a lot of mileage out of that sound drop over the years.
And the final executive producer for this week is he's another repeated executive producer. Tony Alvarez is back with a row of ducks. That's 22.22. And Tony said, I am donating because I'm supporting Paul and Scott Herndon. That's you guys, right? I didn't notice that. Good one.
Did he say Scott Herndon?
He said, I'm supporting Paul and Scott ... Herndon. That's you guys, right? Because isn't Scott's brother's name Paul? This is what we covered on the last show about Ron.
Yeah, that's right. You're absolutely right.
I think we failed to notice that it's Paul and Scott.
Yeah, somehow we did do that.
I think because we were just so distracted by the noise surrounding the raw milk.
Raw milk? Think of it as raw sewage.
We were so into the mainstream and their baloney that we failed to notice that they were Paul and Scott.
Yeah, if our format was more like the North Idaho Experience, that'd be cool to have that Paul and Scott on a podcast. And those two dudes are whip smart. They make us look silly stupid, and that's hard to do because man, I don't know, Scott. You think we could figure out a way to get both of them on?
It's interesting you bring that up because I've been talking to people and thinking a lot about it. And one thing that I've heard probably the most repeatedly, as far as the next steps for this program for No ID and for growing it and just kind of making new people aware of it, is exactly what you're saying. Like, get other people on the show that already have platforms, already have whatever audiences, whatever you want to call it, and then so that they will share it with their people, and then that's a key way to achieve growth, which of course I know that. And it was a huge way, the Brewing Network and a lot of shows, because most shows have guests. But that just hasn't been the format. However, I can't be ideological about it because when we're starting something from the ground, you got to do what you got to do. And I'm not opposed. I mean, if you want to, half of North Idaho, if you'd like to start coordinating some people coming in to sit in here, they can grab a mic and deconstruct the mainstream with us. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I do really enjoy the roundtable discussion format with video, which of course I know makes production that much harder, but it is a format that I've always really enjoyed. So I don't know if we'll ever get there, but we can definitely start thinking about baby steps to go that direction. Because and not every time, all the time, but maybe like once a month we do it as a feature or a special or something like that. It'd be cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's in the works. And in the meantime, thus wrappeth Value for Value. It is time, talent, and treasure. We ask you return to our program if you find it valuable. That's noidshow.com, the portal to do all of that. And thank you guys all so very deeply for your support.
Yes. Thank you very much for the returners, the returning executive producers, and new guy Jaymo. Thanks, man. Thanks, Cramer. And
Tony.
I'm sorry, I just blanked on the third guy. Thank you, Tony. Sorry, Tony. I apologize. You deserve better than that. You deserve better than me.
All right. Well, we are.
I blanked out because I was looking at the songs I was going to queue up for.
Yes, DJ Paul can only focus on one thing at a time. So
it's true. I can barely chew gum and walk at the same time. So what I'm doing here, like sound drop board over here, YouTube over there. Yeah, it's maxing out. I'm maxing out my bandwidth, man.
All right. I'm looking forward to the song, and I'll see you back here for second half.
This song is for everybody who claims to be something they're not, but they don't really realize that's what's going on.
Yeah, I don't really do it, I dabble. Hey, too chill, way too casual. Whoa, going upstream, no paddle. Nah, price going up, don't haggle. I'm a natural. I just know I in team, but there's two in winning. Kick a little freestyle, but I ain't swimming. Eyes on me while I dive right in it. Everything I do a big plus like switch.
Okay, I'm gone a couple minutes. I'm back and I'll pick it up again. Set the bar, they wanted to touch it. They needed oven mitts. Got a dub and doubled it, baby. I'm working double shifts. Going to the drum on these drums. I'm a percussionist.
Dibble, dibble, dab, triple bags, but I did the math. Dribble, dribble, pass, I don't miss. Everything is cash. Missile, missile, crash on the track. It's a different blast. Giggle, giggle, laugh. Y'all are freaking whack.
Wait, I'ma shoot my shot. Hey, I feel like I'm drunk. Wait, let me do this my way.
I don't really do it, I dabble. Hey, too chill, way too casual. Whoa, going upstream, no paddle. Nah, price going up, don't haggle. I'm a natural, I just dabble. Hey, too chill, way too casual. Whoa, going
okay, was dabbling with it until I actually did it. Guess I'm too passionate with it, I started passing them with it. Oh, like my birthday's on Christmas, I'm massively gifted. I guess the flow in Orlando, the magic was in it.
This feeling timeless, classic, flow serving the masses. Mastered it the fairway, rock a green jacket. Hit the finish line, ran past it, lapped it. Yes, I really am who I say, no catfish.
Bigger name,
bigger price,
gon' need a bigger bag.
little taste,
Little bite,
they never send it back.
entertain.
Every night,
That's why they get attached.
living proof,
Flip the loop.
told them I won't give it back.
Wait, I'ma shoot my shot. Hey, I feel like I'm drunk. Wait, let me do this now. Wait,
I don't really do it, I dabble. Hey, too chill, way too casual. Whoa, going upstream, no paddle. Nah, price going up, don't haggle. I'm a natural, I just dabble. Hey, too chill, way too casual. Whoa, going upstream, no paddle. Nah, price going up, don't haggle. I'm a natural.
All right, that's pretty much all I got.
Boom.
Boom. All right. Second half of show. I really have got to stretch now because I have just had poor showing after poor showing, and I'm due for a comeback, baby.
You got that right.
Like a phoenix. Rising from the ashes of a BLM riot. Let's go! Woo! Public health emergency. My performance on this stupid
There's
segment.
just nothing like a sweaty white guy beating a sweaty black guy into a pulp. America. All right, Scott. Taking a slightly different approach today. Thought we'd shake it up and do something a little more for funsies.
Good. I need to have some fun. It's been a bloodbath.
What is the difference between a police officer and a bullet?
Is this are you setting up a joke, or is it like I'm supposed to answer?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're setting up a joke?
Yes, we're doing yokes.
What's the difference between a police officer and a bullet? Well, isn't it uncouth to try to say the punchline? I'm just supposed to go, what's the difference?
No, you're allowed to try and answer.
I can guess. What's the difference between a police officer and a bullet? One draws state benefits.
Ooh. Oh, that's not half bad. I'm gonna give you a little bit of bell.
Wow.
When a bullet kills someone else, you know it has been fired. How many cops does it take to change a light bulb?
6, 1 to keep their neck on the light bulb and the other 5 to watch them.
Ooh, not bad. I'm going to give you a half bell again. 0. They just beat the room for being black.
I was in the right vein. Definite
You
bell.
were.
For
That's
that
why
one.
I gave you a half
All
bell.
right. Yeah. Okay, next.
Yeah, those two jokes were so dark they were bound to get shot by the cops anyways. And there you go. Those are your Scott shots for the day. Short,
right.
sweet, comedy,
Very good.
comedic. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. You know what? I'll take it. That felt good. I appreciate it. You know what, man? You're a great trainer, coach. You really know how to. Sometimes you just need to crank up the ego.
Yeah, I'm a tough love kind of coach, but every now and then, when I see that my fighter is down, I got to tell him to just get in there and do your best. You got this, kid. You're a contender. You got to beat somebody.
I just wasn't fighting with confidence, man. You're just what I needed.
No, you just needed to strap on your gloves and go beat the shit out of somebody darker than you. There you go.
Okay, you know what? Let's do Juneteenth along those lines.
Oh, perfect. What a segue.
Yay.
Today
well
is
done.
June 19th.
This is from Cramer Channel 2.
Today is June 19th, is Juneteenth, and the federal holiday marking the day in 1865 when all slaves in Texas were told they were free.
That's 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation because it took a lot of time for the news to reach Texas. Again, Juneteenth celebrates the day the last group of enslaved people learned that they were free.
Wrong.
Today, people gather
It took
in
2
Post
years to
Hall.
get to Texas.
Today, people gathered.
They had the telegram, they had trains, but it took 2 years for the news to reach Texas. Mainstream media.
Just didn't reach Texas.
A group of enslaved people learned that they were free. Today, people gathered in Post Falls for a Juneteenth Freedom Walk. You might recall earlier this year, Post Falls City Council decided not to recognize the holiday.
That's the sad news I'm leaving you with. Right here now in Post Falls, it figures that, Juneteenth should be stripped from the calendar.
So at the time, some city council members pushed back against eliminating the holiday, but the decision to remove it passed with a 4-2 vote.
You gotta love the commies are always chanting in the background of these things. Hey, ho ho. Western Civ has got to go.
Intelligence has got to go.
Okay, so let's go back quickly to episode 17 of this program, No ID, titled Flowers for Whitey. That was when we covered Post Falls removing Juneteenth from the calendar, and is also the source of the North Idaho NAACP judge, who ever since then apparently doesn't have his gig with them anymore because he's just sitting here with his arms crossed while we do our show so he can judge you on your racist commentary, you North Idaho dwelling white supremacist. Here is a black person who's supposed to be, he's part of the black community, but maybe he isn't because he doesn't agree with the mainstream narrative on Juneteenth.
Then he's not black.
Yeah, you ain't black.
Did you hear Joe Biden a few years ago? The man knows black people. He knows what he's talking about. If you don't vote for Joe Biden, you ain't black. If you're not a Democrat, you ain't black. If you don't drink the Kool-Aid, the watermelon flavored Kool-Aid, then you ain't black.
Here is someone also who isn't black, despite the dark color of his skin. His name is Brandon Tatum, and he represents many, 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 many brothers who are not down with what they're supposed to be down with on account of their skin color.
There were enslaved blacks in Galveston, Texas, that did not know they were officially free. Although other blacks told them that they were free, they didn't believe them. In 1865, they were officially told that they were free, and that's why they celebrate Juneteenth. However, they were not the only slaves. What they fail to mention, because they don't want this to be a part of history, the Choctaw Indian had not released their slaves. But they don't want you to know that the natives owned slaves, and they don't want you to know that that was the actual last remnant of slaves released. Is when the Choctaw released their slaves a year later, which were the final remnant of black slaves released. That's why it's so disingenuous for them to pick June 19th, 1865, when it probably would be March something, 1866. But they cannot have in history that Indians were the last to release black people from slavery, because they can't blame it all on white people.
So that's one part of it. And then the other part of it.
We have sort of a problem here.
The other part of it, that it would be nice if some of the commies in the streets of downtown Post Falls having the hey, hey, ho, ho chant were ever to hear something like this. Of course, they never will, but one wonders how the cognitive dissonance might apply if they heard someone with the dark melanin saying something like this.
The reason that Democrats are actually making this a big deal is because they want to divide between black and white. They want black people to believe July the 4th is the white man's Independence Day, and that June 19th is the black man Independence Day. Now, some black people are fooled into believing that this was done in good faith. And they want to make sure they push it because they want a continual battle so they can gain political power.
Who gets to check more oppression boxes, the Choctaw Indians or the African slaves they had? And it's not like Africans were the only slaves. Choctaw Indians, Native Americans, Indians in general, they had slaves. You'd go and you'd wipe out the neighboring tribe and you'd take their women as slaves and you'd take the children you thought were going to be strong as slaves and you'd work them to death. And if they survived, then they'd grow up and then there's congratulations, you're Choctaw now. But I'm Sioux. Shut up, you're Choctaw. Indians had slaves for thousands of years. Everybody had slaves. Slaves still exist now. In fact, in the Middle East and in areas around there, the slave trade is going strong. Blacks had slaves. African blacks had slaves. American blacks had slaves. And slaves haven't been just black. In fact, I think if we were probably to take a look at history, the vast majority of slaves that have existed throughout history weren't black. It's an absurd premise. Totally absurd premise. But again, people with an IQ that is the same as a cold bowl of soup, don't know any better. And of course, our glorious leaders who run public indoctrination camps don't ever teach that kind of stuff because, well, why? They're not there to educate. They're there to indoctrinate. That's the whole point. And while I'm on this, as an aside, chanting is for idiots. You're a moron if you chant.
Hey.
It is the most heard.
Everything you chant.
Intelligence has got to go.
Speaking of that, hey, I have to read.
We are stupid. We are stupid.
I have to read.
It is the most herd mentality behavior that you can conjure up. Let's all get together and act like a bunch of chodes.
Have you seen
We're
that one,
all
right?
special.
Hold on. Tell me you've seen the We're All Individuals. Let me pull it up. Hold on. I think it's from Python, isn't it?
Oh my gosh.
All individuals. It is Monty
That must have
Python.
been the sketch they did right after they did the Hermit Colony sketch.
Please listen. I've got one or two things to say. Tell us one of them. Look, you've got it all wrong. You don't need to follow me. You don't need to follow anybody. You've got to think for yourselves. You're all individuals. Yes, we're all individuals. You're all different. Yes, we are all different.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yep. There you go. That's from Life
fantastic.
Of Brian. Yeah.
Please soundbite that. Oh, that's
I should have had it on the
magnificent. How do
board.
I not remember that?
Speaking of
that is so on the nose.
I have to read.
It's so on the nose.
Executive producer Kevin Killian messaged us. He quoted you saying from our last program, from episode 33. Paul Banducci said, "Most people have the IQ of a cold bowl of soup." Close quote. You just said that same thing, and then 5 seconds.
That was for Kevin.
5 seconds later, you said, "Quote: You hit the head on the nail." Close quote.
Why would you bring that up? Hey, I'm trying to do like 5 things at once here.
Because you used
Cut me some
cold
slack.
bowl of soup, and it triggered me, dude. You know, see, it's like sometimes you say NRI, you know, and I don't stop you. I don't.
I'm trying not
correct you.
to.
It's because you're
I try
dyslexic.
not to.
You know, you need dyslexics untie.
NIR.
Yeah.
But I try to correct myself. I try to stay on top of it and correct myself. You know, sometimes you just get going and
We all
keep
must
going.
correct ourselves.
Momentum.
We all must correct. Okay, let's do 1 or 2 more here, and then we'll call it a show.
Why do I subject myself to this? I hate you.
Here's a follow-up on the horrific blast at the stroke of midnight at the New Year's Eve celebration down in Boise, and the poor girl who had the glass fly into her face. Huh? Yeah, and you'll never guess what's happening.
The city of Boise is facing a potential
wait. Ask Paul. Ask Paul.
Here comes the question.
Okay.
Big or small, make your guess before we call. The game begins. It's Ask Paul.
Brought to you by Pfizer. Brought to you by Pfizer.
So it's go right at the beginning.
The city of Boise is facing
The city of Boise is facing what?
A lawsuit. And I believe if they haven't done it already, I'm sure they already have. This celebration is banned. It's done. It will never happen again. The giant potato is over.
I'm not going to give you a buzzer because you're right. It just hasn't happened yet. But you are from the future. But I'm not giving you a bell either. We'll give you. We'll play this exact moment on the show. Yeah. So for when it happens and we have the clip for it in the future, we'll come back and we'll play this moment of you predicting.
And they're going to cite liability. The term they always like to use is liability concerns.
Well, of course, it's the easiest prediction to make, but in any case, here's the clip. Once, I'm sorry for so much NPR, forgive me.
The city of Boise is facing a potential lawsuit brought by the parents of a girl injured by shattered glass at this year's New Year's Eve Potato Drop. James Dawson has more.
As the Idaho Statesman reports, Richard and Daryl Ratto filed a tort claim against Boise earlier this month after a shard of glass slashed their daughter's face at the late-night celebration, which required surgery.
I thought the same thing.
Is this a two dads scenario?
It could be. Daryl is also a chick's
You're going to call it a hate crime?
You're going to call it they threw glass at our daughter because we're gay.
Buds, not spuds.
Daryl is a woman's name also, so it could go either way. I didn't look into it.
Do not know on what planet Daryl is a female name. Never have I seen or heard of a chick Daryl.
The actress Daryl Hannah.
I don't know who that is.
Google image it. You'll recognize her. She's a famous actress. I don't know a million of them either, but there is a famous Daryl who's a woman.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
Okay, I win.
Police reports from that night said they couldn't definitively conclude that concussive blasts from fireworks shattered windows on the AT&T building in the Idaho Capitol, which fell on spectators. The Rados are demanding $10 million from multiple city entities, saying they've known for years that Potato Drop organizers have diverted from plans submitted to city officials in order to obtain permits for the event. Body cam footage from that night shows the event's CEO, Dylan Klein, high-fiving his pyrotechnics contractor and saying F yeah after being told of the broken windows by police. City officials have 90 days to respond to the tort claim before the Rados could file a lawsuit.
I want to be friends with that guy. He knows how to have a good time.
F yeah.
I mean, come on. Like, what red-blooded American wouldn't? Bro, we shattered the windows.
F yeah.
Seriously? Yeah. Fuck yeah.
F yeah.
Who would? Like,
I love it so much.
That's got to be the show art.
What's that? Describe
Has
it.
to be the show art.
Yeah, write it down.
A giant potato smashing windows. And a guy on the street or in the background in the alley or something shouting F yeah.
Giant potato smashing windows, guy
high-fiving somebody.
High-fiving.
Oh, yeah.
And shouting F yeah.
Yep. Show art.
All right. I have written it down.
F yeah.
That's going on the soundboard for sure.
It's got to. That is too good.
I thought this was America. Huh? Isn't this America? I'm sorry. I thought this was America.
F yeah.
F yeah.
America.
F yeah.
All right. One more. Let's do one more. Let's do the car crashes. No.
That sucks though. That's a big lawsuit, and they'll probably settle for
10
like
million.
2/3 that or half that. Guess who picks up the tab?
3 guesses and the first 2 don't count. Sure. Yeah, and it's really going to dip.
They're suing the city, right?
Yes, the city. They're really their severance budget is going to be decimated. They're still going to give the severance packages to anyway, but you know, it's really going to hurt.
Oh yeah, no, but as usual, it will be taken out of the taxpayers' hide, and the taxpayers who resist are the bad guys. Always.
Oh no, they're just the rich. They're just the rich who got over 100,000 in cuts.
You know what they never explained, going back to that particular topic, was it like $100,000 like each year or for 1 year or across 5 years, $100,000 but for what tax bracket? Because if you're in the tax bracket where you make, did it?
It did. That particular one was if you make, I think they said it was $795K or more annually.
Oh,
it was
that's why we did.
That's why I used $800K.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. God. Well, okay. So instead of taxing, instead of them paying roughly $400,000 in taxes at least that are labeled taxes across the board,
right?
They only pay $300,000.
That's correct, and it's a travesty of a mockery of a sham of
the injustice, right. And that's why poor kids don't get to eat.
They don't have access to food on account of the rich.
Yeah, we could not solve hunger now. We could have solved it before, but we can't solve it now.
I'm wondering if hunger might be exactly what we need. You know, what I summer's here. So what I did so I look a little better when I take my shirt off on the boat I'm so stupid to own, I just ate less.
Because somebody got a tax cut, you're in better shape?
My abs are a direct result of the rich getting a tax cut. I don't know what other conclusion there is to draw. This is unprecedented.
Show title, Tax These Abs.
Okay, hold on. Tax These Abs. All right. One more for this week.
And we're almost a month into Idaho's 100 deadliest days, where we see an increase in deadly crashes on our roads. So far this year, the numbers are trending in the wrong direction. What you don't know about roads Our Cooper Morgan is live off I-84, where another deadly crash happened just last night. Coop, such a sad situation.
So sad.
Please don't take
ban roads.
Very sad. Me and Hunter actually saw this.
One more time.
Yeah, Morgan, very sad. Me and Hunter actually saw this.
Me saw this. Me, professional reporter.
Me saw this. 4 people died from Kratom last year, and all the cities are trying to ban it.
Ban it.
4 people die on the roads in a day. Why aren't we banning roads, Scott? How come? Roads are dangerous. They're like the most dangerous thing. We should ban them, and cars and refined sugar.
This is unprecedented. Oh, you mean it happens every year?
Yeah, Morgan, very sad. Me and Hunter actually saw this when we came out of the building last night after getting off work. We came down here. There was, just debris everywhere. Traffic was stopped. And, it's part of that 100 deadliest days. Now, Idaho Transportation Department says 32 fatality crashes have happened so far this year, 12 happening in the last week.
It's a concerning trend. People drive impaired. People drive recklessly. People speed. People ignore traffic laws.
People driving is a concerning trend.
One 49-year-old woman died in the crash with others injured after a Boise man rear-ended an SUV, causing it to crash and roll over.
Horrific.
The driver, now identified as Kevin Michael McCannon, appeared in court for the first time on Monday.
Notice they did 3 names.
I mean,
they always do that when they want the guy is now he's evil incarnate and he's banned from polite society forever. And
Yep. It is horrific, but it also isn't breaking news. None of this is breaking news. It's not an epidemic. The CDC would call it an epidemic because they call everything an epidemic because their jobs depend on it. Just like these newscasters, just like the bureaucrats who are going to, be like, well, we need another law of some kind to fix this.
Now, exactly.
Give us your money and your freedoms because people are dying. My roads.
Please, won't somebody please think of the children?
Somebody please think of.
There's
actually in this case it's mainly the boomers because it's mainly boomers getting killed and it's mainly boomers doing the killing. It's mainly boomer on boomer action here.
We're not making light of people dying in auto accidents. Obviously, it's a horrible tragedy for the people who experience this. This has nothing to do with automobile accidents. This has to do with mainstream media.
Fuck you, government, for capitalizing on it.
Correct. That's the point. It's not newsworthy because it happens every year. And to that point, I'm not even going to play the rest of that clip from KTVB. I want to play this from WVLT Knoxville, the CBS affiliate in Knoxville.
Highway officials say the stretch from Memorial Day to Labor Day is the 100 deadliest days for teen drivers. Our Caitlin Walsh joins us tonight. Caitlin, you're talking with a driving teacher about the dangers that teens face every day.
Yeah, hi, Ted and Casey. They say 7 people are killed each day during the summer in crashes that involve a teen driver.
Yeah, now...
ban summer. We must ban summer.
Summer is dangerous, and won't somebody please think of the children? They are doing the exact same phraseology and the same structure wherein the studio anchors throw it to the field reporter who's there on site with the IFB and the microphone. Here is Fox 13 out of Tampa Bay, Florida.
And today marks the unofficial start to summer, and it's also the start to something else you should be paying attention to.
It's called the 100 Deadliest Days of Summer. And Fox 13's Heather Healy is live with the reality check for teen drivers. Good morning.
Same format.
Hey, good morning to both of you. It really is a reality check for teen drivers when it comes to driving on the roads this summer.
One more. Here's KIRO7.
Talk to your teens about the 100 days of summer. What they don't know about roads and summer could kill them.
Would you like to know more?
Here, I would like to know more, and so would KIRO7 out of Seattle.
We are now in the 100 deadliest days for drivers, a period between Memorial Day and Labor Day.
Driving deaths spike during this time, especially among younger drivers. KIRO 7's Randy Sinha is live in King County along I-5, and Randy, troopers are warning people about the spike.
Yeah, and Washtenaw says we've already seen more than 24,000 crashes on roadways like I-5, as well as others across the strait. We're only one day into the deadliest period of the year.
I don't know how to explain that other than, at the very best, mainstream media is a bunch of We're all individual chanting lemmings. Like, well, there's a press release from the Automobile Association. AAA puts out a thing, and all of the editorial, the news departments are all scouring the same sources, and so they're all pulling the same thing, and so they all do the exact same script, and because that's how the AAA refers to it, and the exact same format where they send the field reporter, because they're just like, they just all do the sort of same thing. Okay, so in a best case scenario, they're just lemmings. They just do the exact same thing. They're just parrots. They're just macaws.
Your friendly neighborhood reporters doing independent reporting.
Where would we be without a free press?
Press. The fact that Brandy used that term earlier, I just cringe. Free press. Okay.
As if it's ever been free.
Peace is war. Prosperity is poverty. Liberty is slavery. Work sets you free. Free press.
Good times.
Is it a top-down thing or is it culture? Who knows? There's no way to know that.
She was worse. She said culture. She definitively said culture. Okay. What do I know? Yeah. I don't work. She has credentials.
Part of it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's not culture.
And she's a woman. You remember that? Hashtag believe women. So I believe her. Pepperidge Farm remembers.
God bless it. God bless North Idaho Experience for having a platform for many different people to say things. Even if it's worthy of deconstruction, it doesn't mean it's unworthy. It's great. I love these things. They're very illuminating, perhaps even for the very people from their mouths this emanated. Maybe if this were played back to her, it would cause her to think. You never know.
Yeah, well, me and Scott have seen it.
Amen. If you found our show valuable, episode 34 of No ID Show in the Can, please go to noidshow.com. Remember us there, value for value, return value to our program, and produce like the producers what you is. Until episode number 35, coming up next week, from Post Falls, I am Scott.
And I'm Paul. Taxation is theft. If you don't drink the Kool-Aid, the watermelon flavored Kool-Aid, then you ain't black.